Like, if my voice could be deeper, I would make it deeper. I would make it more resolute, more resonant. It just can't. But I would. I would
Right.
be deeper and sultrier. And like, I've always just loved that sound and that resonance. Yeah. Lisa says, yeah, power and dominance. So when we're thinking about all of that, right? And from your point of view and the way that you show up in your work, what are your thoughts, ideas, actionable steps? What? Good morning, Eric's Corner.
Yeah, gotcha. And I'm
Mhm.
just looking at, I
I
suspect
agree, sis.
the hunters were victims. That may be true. That very well may be true. And it points to something I think I was going to say anyway, that, yeah, you were saying that white boys were disposable, you know, and let's just say, black boys and indigenous boys are murderable, you know,
Yeah.
uh, that kind of thing. So, yes, but one of the things I try to get men to understand is that all of these things that are happening to us, that we are complaining about or having some guilt and shame about or even trauma about are problems of other men, and we can't not see that. We can't, come into like when women have posts talking about their sexual trauma, the sexualized violence that's been put upon them, and men saying, "Well, what about boys? Where's the space for men? To talk about what happened to us when we were younger, what's happening to us right now?" And I often say, "Well, there are spaces for that, and you can create them." And that's on us to do. This is not the space to do that, and they've asked us not to do that. But I think men need to take responsibility for our behaviors in the world. We need to see that a lot of this mess is us, even if we're not directly causing it because of our silence, and our silence is violence. We're allowing it to continue. We're allowing people to not talk about survivors. We could easily do that. There are some calls for women to do a shutdown, not only in South Africa, where the rates of femicide are so high. Everybody's talking about Southern Africa now, that men in South Africa, in occupied Azania, are killing women at a certain high level. It's happening all over the world, of course, but there's a particular light being shown on occupied Azania, South Africa. I think because it's so high there, but also because it's Africa. It's an easy place to
Hmm.
talk about horrible things, but we don't want to talk about these horrible things when they're at home. And that's a real thing. And that's
Oh,
something
yeah,
that,
that's a deflection that I notice with all of the things,
yeah,
right? I'm like, the United States, for me, it goes to scale. The United States is huge, huge, right? And this idea that it's like the greatest place on earth, I'm like, hey, maybe it is for some. I'm like, but not for all.
oh, it
Not
absolutely.
for all. There's abject poverty here. There are places inside of the United States that 100% looks like a third world country, like Flint, Michigan, for one. There's still no drinking water. Like,
Absolutely.
that's
Yes.
third world country level stuff right there. Hold on a second. Eric's Corner says we need to focus on the solution, not the problem. So, Eric, I'm going to get curious here, and I'm going to ask you to expound on that, because how that lands in my body is, oh, let's not talk about that. That makes me uncomfortable. Let's just get to the solution. And that's all too often the problem. We can't get to a solution if we don't acknowledge the problem. I'm not saying stay in the problem. I'm saying we have to note that problem so that the solution includes no longer having that problem again. Lisa says, I was thinking just this, as long as it's far away, we can acknowledge it. Yeah, it makes it so easy, right? It makes it so easy. It's way easier, right? Like, to look at what's going on my neighbor's porch, but mine is a whole ass mess. Like,
Right. Right. And I agree with you there, Desiree, on, having to look at the problem itself, because within it lies the secrets to the solution. You
correct.
have to look at it. I always make this metaphor about any good doctor is going to is going to say, "Oh, so you have a pain in your arm, right? Okay, so that doesn't mean we give you a full body massage. That means we got to look at your arm. We got to see
Mhm.
what's going on with your arm. We got to see if there's a wound there. We have to see if
Right.
there's something got into that elbow or whatever. So we got to really look at that. I always point at vultures in this point, and that may seem like, what the hell is he talking about? But we need vultures in society, right? Because they
Right.
take care of things that if left alone, they would fester and actually spread disease that we don't even want to think about. And I've heard, an expert say that actually vultures are one of the most important birds that we have in the society because and what I see is that they go into the carcass of the dead things and they
Yeah.
look at it, they consume it, they transform it, they transmute it. And I'm like, wow, vultures. We don't even want to look at vultures because
Yeah.
we see that they're ugly and they're doing that work.
I
So
I and I'm gonna we don't
mhm,
wanna look at death.
absolutely,
We
we
are
don't. Yeah,
obsessed with life in this land. We do not want to look at death and decay, um, as a part of the natural life cycle
which is happening all around us right now.
all the
And a lot
time.
of the problems we're looking at are the death of things.
Mhm.
Thank you, Sam, for giving the love to vultures.
Eric
Seriously,
says,
but
uh
that's.
oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, please.
I agree with that. Like Eric was agreeing with what we were saying that it needs acknowledgement, but many people get caught up in the problem instead of moving forward. And I could agree with that too, right? It's a both and sort of situation. Truth of the matter is we were never taught, we're indoctrinated in this country, right? We're not taught critical thinking skills in order to like really assess a situation, to really look at what's going on, like to your point of like the doctor's gonna look at my shoulder. Okay, great, your arm is, hurting, but where is this coming from? Where is the pain point, right? This is the manifestation of the pain, right? The manifestation is your arm, but what's the actual pain point? Oh, well, the actual pain point is, your rotator cuff was damaged months ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I know your forearm hurts right now, and we will deal with that as an immediate, right?